everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Top of the Pods. It's been a while, but we hope you all had a fantastic holiday Christmas season, and so far that your 2024 has been successful and prosperous. January, the month that is always the most January that ever has Januaried. But it's not so bad because we're coming out the other side of it, which means February, short week, and straight through into the year. And of course, Oscar season. So keep an eye out for the episode that will be coming up from that. But for today, I am more than happy to be joined by my esteemed colleagues, which would, of course, include himself, Booger G, 5 times, who forgot me on a recent episode of Irish Wrestling Entertainment. If you haven't watched it, please make sure you have to subscribe. But less we say about that, the better enough, isn't it?
It's a different universe.
Apparently so, where I don't exist. Also joining us today is our good friend Tom from Popcorn Pop Little Podcast. How are you, Tom?
Pretty good. Can't complain so far. January is nearly over, so that's the best thing I can say about it.
Right, this is it. This time of the year, that's kind of like that's what we're all holding on to, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And come here to me. Speaking of Oscar season, 'tis himself there from Deep Red. Phil, what's the crack? How are you?
All good. I think, was it the last time I was on, I said we were doing Indie Cork, and we actually did win in the end.
Way.
So we won the best in Cork section.
Amazing. How fabulous is that?
Yeah, so
on
the road to the Oscars, as you say.
I'm telling you, we'll be here next year, and Phil will be thanking us in his speech. I'm telling you now, he will. He'll be thanking us in his speech. Delighted for you, Phil. That's fantastic. And so for this episode, we're all massive cartoon fans, especially when we were growing up, like all of you guys are as well. There was nothing better than before going to school, rushing, getting ready, eating your breakfast, scooping it all in, and there was always a great cartoon that you probably always missed the end of before you went to school, depending on the channels that you watched, whether they were paid for or not, saying nothing, you know, you do what you gotta do. Or when you came home from school, you were always dying to watch that one cartoon. And I think this was a trip down memory lane for a lot of us here as well, definitely for myself, but I'm sure for a lot of us too. What we have taken a look at for this episode are the top 10 cartoons from the 90s according to entertainment.ie. Now, the reason I stress that is because there were a lot of contenders that were not included in this top 10 list. Our top 10 list probably would have been very, very different, but probably would have been very, very easy as well. You know, that kind of a way. So we like a challenge. So we have taken the time to look at all of them listed on entertainment.ie's top 10 list. And we will then, of course, compile our own list based on the scores that we have awarded each cartoon that we have viewed. Esteemed fellow podcasters, tell me, what did you make of this list?
It wouldn't have been what I would have done.
Yeah, I would say the same. I nearly emailed the person who wrote this to ask some serious questions. I'm not even joking, because he fundamentally failed at this list, in my opinion. And I'm not saying this, obviously everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I'm not saying there's not good stuff on here that I would have on my list. There's nothing from Disney animation. That was been a big thing of the Saturday morning cartoons, like Pepper Ann, Recess, none of that is there. There's nothing from Nickelodeon, which is far more egregious in my opinion. Like, this is pretty much Cartoon Network all the way down. And like, that was the battle I remember, like, cartoons growing up. It was like Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network, and like Rugrats isn't there. Yeah. Doug, like Rocko's Modern Life, Hey Arnold. I mean, Ren and Stimpy isn't there either, which kind of defined a lot of the kind of weirdness of 90s cartoons. You could even, like, if you go into late 90s, SpongeBob isn't there, which, you know, is, I don't know. I just feel like this list is a little bit odd. There is some really good stuff there. There's some stuff that I was like, I didn't even realize anyone watched this in Ireland. But yeah, it's a strange list. I talked mad shit about 80s cartoons, hoping we get to talk 90s cartoons, and I'm kind of like, maybe we didn't put our best foot forward here. Yeah. But also, in looking at all this, I also was like, oh, there's some great cartoons in the noughties as well. So, you know, that's the glass half full approach.
There's definitely scope for a second round of it. You know, the ones that didn't make it, that and maybe our own top 10, and we'll just pick 10 and just do them that aren't on this list in the coming months. Because for myself, grown up in the 90s, like Tom, you probably were late 90s, early 2000s when you were starting to watch cartoons, really, were you? Actually getting to understand the cartoon.
I was born in 92, so it was probably like mid to late 90s maybe, but like I suppose with some of the stuff in Ireland, because I never had any more than just the 4 channels, so it was like, oh, this is new, and then it's like, this ended in America 4 years ago. Oh, okay. Just started here.
Yeah, so like growing up, most of the ones on this list I definitely had seen, didn't remember them. I've heard of them, like some we'll talk about them in a minute, like, but I couldn't believe, I couldn't believe how weird some of them were. Trying to, as we always say, the reason for the podcast is, will they hold up? Would you sit down and binge watch them? Or if you were showing them to somebody who was our age in the 90s, would they sit down in this day and age and binge watch them if they were on Netflix or Disney? Like, and some of them are on Disney and Netflix if anybody wants to know.
That's another thing as well, like over here, especially because for me anyway, we never even had a Cartoon Network. It was Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I think that you have to look at shows like The Den or fucking, that's probably where your man, whoever wrote this list from entertainment, probably.
I could also throw a very quick monkey wrench into this and say what he could have done is he could have typed in top 10 90s cartoon, and Cartoon Network came up, and he looked at shows that broadcast by Cartoon Network. Not saying that's what happened, but it's interesting. That's all I'm saying.
Let's and see how he holds up as opposed to the cartoons, because he may be getting a sharply worded email afterwards.
Dear God.
If he still works for entertainment.ie.
He does, I checked.
We're coming
45 after this list.
If anyone wants his details, let me know.
Just write in the comments, and we'll DM it.
Stop it. After that, he's out anyway. Good luck. He's burnt all of his bridges. So without further ado, what I'll do is we will crack into them in no particular order. We'll have a little look and see. And as I said, we are very, very impartial in a way. We are this is our own opinion. We may not have seen these before. We may have seen these before. So take it all with a pinch of salt and just go with it. Just go with it. So we're going to kick straight off with a cartoon that had me as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. The best line I've heard out of any of these cartoons. Unbelievable. When I heard this, I got so excited. I was like, that's the best thing I've heard in such a long time. We are, of course, talking about the X-Men. So, X-Men, I never watched the X-Men cartoon when I was younger.
But you knew the tune.
I knew the tune. Do you know why? Whatever you want from me, giving you everything. I'm your baby tonight. That is the X-Men's tune. Tell me I'm lying. Am I wrong? Did nobody else pick up on that? Are you freaking kidding me?
Whoa, hang on. We can't go any further now. I can't get copyright strike. I want YouTube shutting us down.
I can't be the only one who caught that. Tell me, are you?
No, you weren't. You weren't.
Oh, thank God. I was like, she's absolutely nuts. I was like, no way. First thing I thought of, I was like, I started singing it. As soon as I heard it, I was like, I'm singing this song. This is Whitney Houston. Definitely. Anyway.
I was just too busy headbanging to it, I think.
Really? Oh my God.
I was like, no.
Another reason for this episode as well, because X-Men 97 is due out this year at some stage. They haven't given an official date, I think sometime in March. Maybe we'll get a trailer during the Super Bowl. Apparently there's a trailer coming for the Super Bowl.
So wow, okay.
It's just literally from the last episode of 97, it's kicking off from there. So this is another reason to do this. So if you are going to binge watch any of them, maybe you should binge watch the X-Men.
There you go. You see, every cloud love, it's all connected, as they say, it's all connected. So yeah, the X-Men pretty much reeks of the 90s. There is no doubt about it. It's very, very turn of the century with the style, the fashion, those kind of like David Bowie-esque outfits. It's just kind of turning from 80s into 90s, but a little bit more extended. And there's notes of Bryan Adams everywhere. Do you know what I mean? There really, really is. Even in like the little melodic snippets going out through the episodes as well. It's just littered with the 90s. Tell us, Phil, X-Men, how was it for you?
Do you know, this was a very hard one for me to rate. Because I actually had to watch the second episode as well. Because it was a two-parter. Yeah, so it was hard to kind of judge it on its. I thought it was very slow or something, the first one. But But once I watched the second episode, I was like, oh man, I'm in. So I'm just gonna, where did I put this actually? Just before I actually put this as number 2.
Oh, the impression.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun. It was just the development of the characters and just I was just felt, again, I've all said this a lot of times, it felt like you're a child watching it, and it was just brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, the song just, you were bopping away to it.
Yeah, you'd know it straight away. And like, even I think that's a testament to the cartoon as well, that it kind of transports you back to where you soon you'll be like, oh my God, you remember this? And you'll sit and watch it and binge maybe a few episodes of, and then you'll just feel all happy and go out the door.
What's this on? What was this on back in the day? Was this Cartoon Network?
It definitely was on the Den.
Yeah. Because I don't remember really seeing much of it. I saw a little episode here and there, but I don't remember seeing the whole thing.
Yeah, I think as far as I know, before Sky had the Cartoon Network, before it became a channel, or Trouble.
Oh my
one of them.
God.
It might have been but you know, they had a group of Trouble and Boomerang. Was that Boomerang?
Yeah, Boomerang. Yeah, that was another one.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure the Den had this on Irish TV anyway. I think
I definitely saw it on TV, so I would have only seen it on Den anyway. So,
but it was during the 90s, like, you know, well before the MCU was born. Like, this was the go-to if you were a comic book fan. Like,
but it succeeded in what we set out to, because I'm going to continue watching them.
Well, it was this, and it was Batman. Like, you know, the X-Men versus Batman, and Superman had died off. Like, there was no mention of Superman since the fucking crappy 4th film and 3rd film. So, like, nobody wanted to touch superheroes, so cartoons was the way to go. After Batman Begins, or Batman Returns, Batman the animated came out, so Marvel was like, yeah, let's do something. Like, so the X-Men was one of the most popular characters at the time on their comics. So
yeah, in comics, X-Men was like dominated the 90s for Marvel.
This was easy for them because there were so many characters. It wasn't just based around one character. They couldn't just pick somebody. Like, Iron Man wasn't popular until the movie. There was nobody really. Like, the Hulk had the television series, so there were so many people in the X-Men that they could go to, and Wolverine was such a cool motherfucker. Shout out to the man. And it was almost, you know, PG-13 or 15 rated. Like, they could have easily made this for, you know, children weren't watching this. They even come out and said it. And most of the cartoons on this list, people like, oh, they're for kids. They're not. They weren't. They were more for teenagers and young adults. Like, they were aimed at them. They were trying to sell merchandise to the smaller generation, but they weren't watching these cartoons. We were in our teens watching these. This is the best thing ever. We were going back to school talking about cartoons. When you're in your teens or your secondary school or high school, you're not supposed to be talking about cartoons. You're supposed to be talking about, you know,
wrestling
or girls, or smoking around the back of this, you know, bus shelter, whatever it is you're doing.
No, you're not. Disclaimer. No, you're not. Tom's a teacher.
No, his kids aren't allowed to watch this fucking show.
I hope they're not watching it. If they find this, I have bigger problems.
For me, this is one I'm definitely going to watch. I'm going watching it back. I was planning on going watching it back because of the X-Men 97, but the fact that we got to do this podcast, I'm going to watch it back anyway.
I'm the same. I haven't seen them all either, so I'm going to go with it.
So easy to watch, and they're like 20 minutes long, so you could play through, you know, the first season in half a day.
Where was this in your list?
This was number 2 on my list as well.
Oh,
shout out to Stan Lee. If anybody didn't cop it, he made a cameo in the first episode.
Did he?
He did, an uncredited video game store owner.
Oh, yes.
That was
amazing. God bless us.
So he was doing it before the movies.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Even though he did it in the original Incredible Hulk.
Tom, did this transport you back to the early years?
This is one where, like, I'd be lying if I said I had like really fond memories of it. I definitely saw it growing up, but it wasn't one that it was like regular point in viewing for me. But I you know, from watching people talk about it and having seen bits and pieces of it in retrospect, like, it's something that was really, really faithful to the comics as well and stuff. That's always one I wanted to check out. I thought it was really, really good. I thought the animation was really good. I thought the voice work was excellent. I mean, especially, like, I can't imagine anyone watching this and not being like, God, I want a woman that sounds like Rogue and a man that sounds like fucking Gambit. Like, you know, like, you're like, anytime she says anything, I'm like, oh, And then and then he comes along and he's like, "Mon chéri," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, mate."
You want to be walking down Bourbon Street.
I tell you, yeah, I'm going straight to Louisiana and trying to pick up some honeys, you know. But like, it's funny. It is again. It's 90s. It definitely has a smack of 80s off it as well. Like, I love Jubilee, who she's like, I just wanted to be a normal kid. She says, wearing like fucking knee-high boots and pink shades and a yellow banana jacket. Like, oh, I used to be so normal. Like, really, did you? I also think like it's so funny. Like, I'm guessing like a lot of people that see this maybe hadn't seen the comics or didn't know the X-Men. I mean, obviously now we've had, you know, decades of movies and all these things familiar and stuff. It's so funny watching it now. Like, the biggest red shirt everywhere. It's like all your favorites are here. Beast, you know, Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, and Morph. We all remember Morph very, very well. Again, of course, we watched the second episode. It's like, oh, they killed Morph, and then Wolverine has to be like, they killed Morph, and you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, we get it, yeah, sure. I know you have lots of fond memories. It's gas. But I thought it did a great job, like, of just establishing the team and bringing you into that world. Again, I do think, it's hard for me to rate this as one episode because I had to watch the second episode and blend into one. I think I'm definitely going to watch more of it. Good animation, good voice work. Action-wise, I think the first actually 2 episodes are a little bit dry, but this is some good stuff there. But yeah, I also want to say, we're talking about the theme song in the intro. Look up the Japanese intro for this. It is like a separate animation studio did it. It is baller. It is class. Different song as well. Amazing animation where you're like, oh my god, they actually somehow improved on it. But yeah, no, for me, it's up. What's that?
Better than Whitney.
Well,
you know what? I don't know. This could be another Whitney song. Who knows?
I will.
That's it. It was I think it was like, a rock version of "I Will Always Love You" or something. But look, for me, it's like well up there. It's not in my top 2. It's number 4 for me. There's just other ones that I kind of prefer, and I'll explain my reasoning for it as I go on. But yeah, no, it's well up there. I think I'm going to watch more of this, and that's probably the biggest compliments I can give it.
Fantastic. I can't really say much more than what you guys have echoed already. I would be into watching more episodes of it. Definitely, I didn't watch it when we were younger. I was definitely watching something else it could have been on. But again, you know, we weren't balling when I was younger, so we definitely weren't having all of those networks and stuff like that. We watched what was there. It was number 3 on my list. I definitely enjoyed it, and I love the nostalgia of the whole thing as well. From there, we are going deeper underground, but not too deep underground, because we are going to be paid a visit by Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim, the soil eater crawl.
I didn't get this, okay? I didn't watch this when I was younger, right? So maybe it's adult Liz watching this and kind of going, the fuck? Well, if I was younger, maybe I would have been like, you know, but like now that I'm older, I'm like, oh my god. And all I could think to, and the only really thing I had to say about Earthworm Jim, well, actually 2 things I had to say about Earthworm Jim as I consult my old time notes showing that I was a fan of 90s cartoons because I have a pen and paper as opposed to any other device. Professor Monkey for a Head. That pretty much said it all for me, because even that I thought, I was like, you know, it wasn't even monkey for a head, you know, it wasn't even like, there wasn't even a bit of a twang or like, you know, a bit of an old circumflex added to any of the vowels to make it sound a little bit in something, you know, but no, it's just like Professor Monkey for a Head. And then when I saw him in the cartoon, it was a professor half digested by a monkey, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I just didn't get it. And then he had to consult his 4 brains. Earthworms don't have 4 brains. They've got 2 lumps that identify as brain matter, and that just threw me off completely. I had to look it up. I was like, you're a fucking liar, Jim. You're a liar. So I didn't get it. I don't know. I'm sure, I know the team is very like dun 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 dun, 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 you know, and I mean, like, it's not a patch on Whitney. So for me, that number 9.
Ooh.
Yeah, Sass. Phil?
I actually have it as 7.
Okay.
It's actually because there's 1 or 2 that I just did not get at all when I rewatched them. But this, I actually enjoyed the game of this as a kid. I didn't really watch the show.
There was a game.
That's what I was going to say. If you didn't play the game, like, you're not getting anything out of this, I think.
Okay.
This was a game. This was a video game first.
Yeah.
Like a video game.
Yeah, like on Mega Drive or one of those systems.
Sick
Yeah,
game.
right, that makes
It's
sense.
actually cool. I actually quite liked it. I remember liking it.
Yeah, I love the game. I've replayed the game multiple times. I love the game.
Yeah, but this just felt clunky. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as bad as Liz, but I just think it was a bit. I actually would have just sticked with the little transformation wolf as a sidekick rather than all these really cheap. Oh, it was so. Do you know when you're watching it back as an adult watching it, it's like this is so cheap looking, and it just I don't know. What did you make? Like, because I just couldn't get into it as much as I thought I would because I loved, as I said, I loved the game.
It was more of an introduction, like it was because it's the first episode.
Yeah.
They're trying to just, establish, that is.
But again, I don't think I will go back.
He doesn't understand the pup. He's gone off looking for the
Yeah.
benefits, and they're all equally
Oh
terrible.
yeah, no, I get that, but I wouldn't go back and watch more episodes of. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's one of them. Like I watched all of this, and not this time, but growing up, I definitely watched this. I definitely watched this religiously. I thought
Like
it
it
was.
probably gets a lot better, obviously, it does.
Yeah, like if you notice a lot of subtleness to it, like the Bruce Campbell subtleties, like it's
Yeah.
if you understand what Bruce Campbell is, basically Earthworm Jim is based around his character development, and this show is based around him. Like his catchphrase is groovy, basically. Like he's playing Bruce Campbell throughout the whole fucking series. I never played the game. I didn't play the game at all.
And you like
And I loved this growing up. I like this episode. I was a nice flashback for me because again I watched it all, so it's kind of hard not to. But there's only 23 episodes, like so it's easy enough to go back and watch if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't mind it. It was just a nice throwback for me. Would I go out of my way to watch it before X-Men? No. There's a few on this list I would definitely watch before it. That's why it's at number 6 for me.
Fair enough.
I if we're talking about video games for this, like I have to say, like this was one of my favorite video games growing up. Because I didn't even have a console at the time, and it was like, remember when they used to give away like sometimes demo discs or games and stuff with things.
Magazine.
Like was a PC World magazine or something, and one of their first issues gave out a CD version of Earthworm Jim, and I played the hell out of it. And I loved its weird sense of humor. It wasn't like any other video game I played. It was weird that you were, and what I thought was weird is, and maybe I'm misremembering, I don't remember any like explanation or backstory really in the video game. There might have been tiny bits of it, but I think the problem with this is that it has to explain so many things to people who weren't familiar with it being a video game. Like I think even like my generation, like the cartoon would have been in the 90s. The game first came out, I think, in the 80s. So it was like people probably didn't even realize that there was a video game attached to it. It might have been early 90s a video game, I'm not sure, but anyway. I kind of like the reverence of it. I like the weird sense of humor. I think the voice work is really good. I mean, this is like a who's who of voice work in animation. When you're hearing the cast, you're like, I recognize that voice, and you look it up, and then it's like, oh, that was the voice of Winnie the Pooh. Oh, well, obviously the lead is the voice of Homer Simpson, like, and all these kind of things, you know.
Yeah.
I think the animation is definitely very cheap looking. I think that's kind of what's let down. I did like some of the weird jokes, like turns his eyelids inside out, boy. I don't know why that made me laugh. Just stupid stuff like that is what I enjoyed. Again, I'm not going to say it holds up or it's some masterpiece. I don't really have an urge to watch it again. I'll probably just make me play the game again at some point. But yeah, I thought it was okay. It's actually at number 6 for me as well. But yeah, I don't think it's not as good as I wanted it to be, because the only thing I really remember from this growing up was enjoying the game, enjoying the show, but having no real memory of it outside of the theme song. The theme song holds up, but
killer.
Yeah. I think that saved it from being my number 10, but yeah. From below ground to high above our heads, I had never heard of this until this list, right? I'm sure you guys probably have, but I had absolutely never, ever heard or realized that there were biker mice on Mars.
Oh, yeah.
Biker mice from Mars. Biker mice from Mars.
Am I the only one who never heard of this?
I did.
Had you heard of this?
I'd heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I've never watched it before we watched this.
All right.
I think it was a toy line as well, wasn't it?
It was a
I
what?
have to imagine it was. I think it was a toy line afterwards as well.
Oh,
I think I knew it as well. I mean, I think if we're going to talk about this, we can't we can't ignore the giant Ninja Turtle in the room.
Yeah.
This is such a Ninja Turtles ripoff, and it's really lame.
Yeah,
That's all it was.
It's the most. It's really comes off of as desperate.
Yeah.
Like they're really like, yeah, we're just like it. We're really cool. We're mice from Mars. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, why are there mice on Mars? And then it was like, oh, it's a science experiment. They broke out of a lab. It's like, oh, that's the turtles' origin. You must move them to Mars. And then I'm like, oh, and their designs are like kind of overly intricate. They have all these things going on. They're still very kind of barely distinguishable in their personalities. They have the worst line in any of these shows where they go like, the only three things you need in your life, I think they said like the three B's, and it was like your brains, your bros, and your bike. And I was like,
oh, let's ride.
Yeah, I was like, that couldn't have even been cool at the time. Then they even like have the cheek to like mention them in Turtles. They're like, you were expecting the Turtles maybe, which is a reference. I think the Addams Family, or I think they did a Turtles movie made a reference to the Addams Family doing that as well. So I think that's a running joke or something. But I don't know. Yeah, it's just not very good. The voice is the voice of Yakko as well, which I found very distracting from Animaniacs. Yeah, it's just really lame. It's painfully 90s radical. It's a poor man's Ninja Turtles. And I don't know how this ended up on the list. But yeah, it's number 8 for me. Just not very good.
Yeah. Totally get that. My notes here say reeks and shades of Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Lots of parallels, even have an April O'Neil mechanic, and of course you had a hot dog instead of a pizza. So it was just very it was literally it was cookie cutter. It really was. So that was pretty much my notes on that. Did I think it was awful? No. As bad as Earthworm Jim? No. Or some others on this list? No. What did it come in at, Tom, for you?
For me, it was number 8.
Number 8, you said. Okay. It was number 6 for me. But yeah, as I said, would I watched again? Nah, but it was just cookie cutter, to be honest. Darling, tell me all about these biker mice from Mars.
Number 10 for me.
No way, really? Oh wow.
I'm very surprised because again, I had vague remembers when I saw it in the list. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that one. But I didn't remember that one. I really didn't. I don't think I watched it. I did definitely seen it on TV, and I must have skipped past it when it was on because it just didn't really do anything for me. Again, like you said, it's a ripoff of the Turtles. There's no originality in it. The cartoon, the animation was pretty much done by anybody who could draw in the 90s. There's nothing really much to like about it. If you like Turtles, watch Turtles instead. Number 10.
That's a good call, yeah. And Phil, tell me, do you want to go to space and be friends with these guys?
Oh,
they look really good. They told us millions.
Well, like, what was that?
I said they look really good. They told us millions of times. You know, I was.
Well, if you're
being mice is weird.
If you're a kid watching it now, you'd probably think this is Sons of Anarchy or something. But
that's how Entertainment.ie described it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they're so parallel. Yeah, the parallels there. They both have bikes.
Yeah.
I put it as number 9.
Number.
It's so bad I don't even want to go there with it. The only thing I'll say is that I looked it up and apparently they're making it again.
Why?
They have
there was a reboot. There was a rebooted animated series, and Ryan Reynolds wants to make a movie of it or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I just did not like it at all.
Did Ryan Reynolds write to them Entertainment.ie list?
No, we don't. Well, maybe he did. So off on your bike, Biker Mike from Mars. We're done with you on your bike. And leave it to the big guns. Speaking of the big guns, of course, it is Batman. I don't remember watching this when I was small. It was definitely around, but I don't remember watching it. I remember watching, the old Kerpow actual TV series as opposed to the little 90s cartoon, I think, but I don't think I remember watching this. But then when I saw it, I was like, this shades, this definitely looks familiar. And this was inspired by Tim Burton's Batman movie, wasn't it? Apparently.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's spin-off.
The
Like,
soundtrack is the same, yeah.
yeah, well, they had, it was in works before Batman Begins, or keep saying Begins, Batman Returns came out, but after the success of the Tim Burton stuff, they decided to go with. Let's just double check. Did everybody watch On Leather
On
Wings?
On Leather Wings, yeah.
We all watched On Leather Wings, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, because if you go back, that's the part one of the Cat Claw is the one they actually released first, even though it was the 8th one they produced, because it was kind of continuation from the end of Batman Begins, where Batman and Catwoman team up.
Okay.
That was the first episode, even though it wasn't. But On Leather Wings, it's not canon. It's nothing to do with, Batman Returns or anything to do with Tim Burton. But because it was so successful, those movies, this cartoon just took off, and it was unbelievable. Like, such a good cartoon to watch. Batman was already an iconic character. Like, our parents watched the Batman series in the 60s. It's not a comic book, because everybody knew who Batman was. It's kind of like Superman. Like, who Superman, the reason Superman movie was so successful is because Superman had been around for so long. Batman was the same for us. So our parents, I'm pretty sure they watched this cartoon as well, because it was Batman. Like, they didn't have to like cartoons, but it was just Batman. Like, and it was so well done. It was so well made. And going back and watching this first episode was brilliant. Like, even though the character, the villain in this episode doesn't really make an appearance in a lot of Batman since then. There's no real mention of the doctor, or the laboratory is never really mentioned anymore, ever, in any TV series or movie since this episode. I don't think, not that I can remember, unless it is in some fucking version of Nightwing or something. But yeah, I loved it. I could go I've already started it. I don't know if anybody else has, but I've started watching all the episodes. It just popped up and I had to keep going.
It's on Netflix.
The worst line I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God.
Sometimes
What's your phrase?
Sometimes in work we have a bit of downtime where I can watch Netflix.
No, Kevin Conroy is perfect as well.
Kevin Conroy is just brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, it's okay. I'm losing my voice.
Oh my God! Right.
What I love most about it is this is one of them animations where everybody's so together. Like all the episodes throughout the whole seasons, they're all in the one studio at the same time recording their voices. They're not, halfway across America in different studios recording and then sending them in and just put together. And you can tell the synergy inside the cartoon that they're actually
it's like that episode of Frasier when they're all like on the radio.
Yeah. So good. But there's a lot of I go deep into the whole series, but I won't, because we could be here all night. But this is number one on my list if anybody didn't guess.
Oh,
yeah, no, I'd be the same. It's number one for me as well.
Wow, really? So
I think it's the exact same. I'd have the exact same experience as you're there with everything about it. It's just so good, so good. And I actually haven't seen them all, so I am watching them. Netflix is nice and handy for them, but there's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, we might as well make it a hat trick. It's my number one as well.
Oh wow!
Again, one I didn't really watch. I definitely had seen it, but I don't remember watching all that much of it. It's just it's like the way they made this, since they made this in such a way, it's so stylish. The shadow in the animation is gorgeous. They drew it on black paper instead of white paper when they were making it. And I think it really shows, this is timeless when you look at it. Like, so many other cartoons are like, that recent 90s, that's an 80s cartoon.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too clean, and you're like, that's a modern cartoon. This is just something that I think people are going to keep watching. I have already started watching another episode. I literally finished the second episode before we started recording this, and I'm going to keep going. The voice work is amazing. Like, the cartoon has an amazing score. Like, for a cartoon, it's it feels almost disrespectful calling it a cartoon, because it's genuinely such a fucking work of art. I just think it's phenomenal. I will say the first episode is weird.
Yeah.
It it isn't as Man-Bat, as you said, is not a conventional choice for a Batman villain. I think that was a very conscious choice. I think they wanted to say like, hey, outside of the usual rogue gallery, Batman has villains like Man-Bat, who, you know, only appears in some other bits of media. I think he's in like one of the Arkham games briefly, and like maybe there's a few shout outs to him and references to things in deleted scenes and stuff. I think there's a deleted scene in Batman Forever that has a giant Batnet that some people say is a reference to Man-Bat, and Batman v Superman has a giant Batnet as well that people were saying is a reference to Man-Bat. I don't know. In fact, I was I'm sure some director at one stage said they wanted to make a Batman world, a cinematic universe where they could have a character like Man-Bat and then a character like the Joker and make it make sense, which is hard. And I think the cartoon actually managed to do that, it makes sense. So you can have an otherworldly, out crazy villain. But like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to rate it on just the first episode because I think the whole show is amazing, and this first episode is odd. Like, we don't get like any of the rest of the side characters even that much in this episode.
What are you
know? It's very odd. It's kind of, again, it is very standalone, but I think that's what why it works as well. I mean, yeah, no, I think it's one of the best versions of Batman. It's an amazing cartoon. Like, you know, I could probably go on about it for ages, but I'm going to shut up now. So there we go.
Wow, 3 number ones. For Batman, for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It came in at number 4 on my list. The reason it's at number 4 and not higher is because, as to echo what Tom was saying, I would have needed another episode of this because I just needed a little bit more clarity on who's who. You know, some cartoons from the bat, you know exactly what's going on. And I am, now that said, I loved how dark and moody this was, how it was presented in that way. I really, really liked that. And as you mentioned at the start of, there's definitely a theme of adult tones running through these cartoons, you know, but definitely something I would sit down and watch again. My only gripe was Bruce Wayne. I liked Batman, definitely. It was very dark, it was very, very moody, you know, and the usual I suppose the usual allure that he gives off. But then Bruce Wayne kind of reminded me from an ad that we have here in Ireland, which would definitely not go down if it was put on the telly these days, but hi, Kate, it's me from the bar. There was a bit of that kind of a tone from Bruce Wayne, in my opinion. I thought it was just like, I don't know, I just kind of felt like they were trying too hard to not make him like Batman. That kind of threw me a little bit. But then on the other side of it, then I was like, well, at least they're not putting a pair of glasses on him and calling him Clark Kent. You know, that kind of way they're kind of going the other extreme. So that threw me a little bit there. But I did thoroughly enjoy it. I would need another couple of episodes, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. I just would need a little bit more. Number 4 on my list.
Yeah, I think there's another thing as well. We're pointing out, we were on about X-Men coming back. There's meant to be a sort of spiritual successor sequel series coming out to this, called Batman Caped Crusader, with J.J. Abrams involved. Bruce Timm is back. I think it had some production troubles, so I don't know. Is it still happening? They were originally was going to go to HBO Max and then has to find a new home, but I think it's happening. Might even be going to Netflix after this, but yeah. Yeah, and also you should just point out as well, like, I mean, like, for a cartoon to have as much impact on the character, like, a lot of these are like adaptations of character and it kind of went one way. Like, this is the cartoon that gave us Harley Quinn. It basically gave a proper origin that actually everyone stole afterwards from Mr. Freeze, like, and that's just 2 of them. So yeah, no, I think it's you know, absolutely amazing.
Plus we got Mark Hamill as the Joker, which is even though it could have been Tim Curry.
I only found that out earlier, and I found the Tim Curry recordings. I was listening to them. They are scary enough.
Yeah, that's little acorns, big trees grow. Do you know, when we think about it, from that little acorn of Batman, look at everything we got from it. And it's the gift that keeps on giving as well. Like, you can run with this for, like, God, decades yet to come.
Like, what's his name? Little acorn that grows. What's it in Friends? In Friends, whenever Joey's doing the acting, what's his name? He says, fuck, it's gone. I'll remember it in a while. Doesn't matter.
Are you
I've forgotten his name. His head cold has fucked me up. Yeah. What's his name? The episode where Joey's burst to go to the toilet. He's in the.
Oh yeah, that's your man from Jurassic Park. That's your man from Jurassic Park. What's his name?
Jeff Goldblum. I don't really remember.
Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, that's him.
And it grows. Yeah, and there's Joey, and I'm just like, he's fever.
I fuck.
You're all right, love again. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord above. I got you, love. So moving on from that was hilarious. Please don't. That was brilliant. Christ, I honestly, I was like, gonna have to get him another Benelin 4 flu. There's product placement there, love. So Batman: The Gift That Keeps On Giving, in a very, very different way as well. The next cartoon that we're going to have a bit of a chat about, right, kind of disappears and comes back. But you're never short of a t-shirt and pennies with them on it, right? It's the Powerpuff Girls, which I find so random. I have never seen this in my life, ever. And there's always merch everywhere for them. I've asked like younger kids, you know, that I'm like related to in some capacity, and no, they've never seen it, but they'll wear these little Powerpuff t-shirts. So I don't know what these little girls have. Would you even call them little girls, or what the allure of them is? But it's just so, I don't know, is it the equivalent of like, say, teenagers these days wearing like a Nirvana t-shirt? I just don't know. Do you know what I mean? Because it's cool. I'm not really sure. But one thing I will say, I was today years old, as in today being the day that I watched this cartoon for the first time, that I found that they were called the Powerpuff Girls and not the Powder Puff Girls, because that's what I always thought they were. And that is what I know, right? I know. But I swear to God, I always thought they were the Powder Puff Girls. And yeah, apparently not. They're the Powerpuff Girls. I like Mojo Dojo as a villain. And I like that there's puppies in it, lots of them, even though it drove the dog absolutely fucking demented when we were watching it. He just barked the whole entire episode. It's a grand kind of after school cartoon or something. I don't even know when it was on, but I'm like, it apparently won a load of awards as well.
Yeah.
Just missing it now with the powder. I don't care. Powder Puff Girls. Maybe I'm just missing it. I don't really know, but it was 7 on my list. I don't really know what to say about this, because this is kind of not as bad as Earthworm Jim, but I don't get it. I don't know how to put it into words. I don't get it either. I don't know. 7. Next.
I didn't mind it. I actually put it as 4.
Really?
Yeah, like I didn't really like the dog story, but the second one I thought was really good.
Okay.
And I don't know why. I just was just fascinated, but I don't know what it was. I just thought it was really, really well done. I just can't explain it. It's almost like the professor was like a Superman or something. I could just see Superman every time I was looking. I was like, this is kind of cool. No, I didn't mind this at all. I know you Jeremiah, what do you reckon? What do you make of it?
This is out of all of them on the list, it's definitely one I didn't watch. Probably as a adolescent teenage male in the 90s, watching a girly cartoon wasn't up my street, so that's probably a reason I didn't watch it. I still wouldn't go back and watch it in this day and age. It didn't really do anything for me. I know there was loads of puppies in it and drove the dog mad. That was all I got out of it, because I couldn't
what entertained us.
I couldn't fucking hear what they were saying because the dog wouldn't stop barking at the TV.
Leave him alone.
I didn't mind. The animation was cool. Like, it's really nice. Like Craig McCracken, like, you know, he's been around Cartoon Network in the 90s doing all that fucking crap with Johnny Bravo and working with Seth MacFarlane and stuff. Like, so there's definitely loads of throwbacks you could throw into it. Like, but just it's not something that would go back and watch again.
It's hard to explain, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's nothing against it. I'm sure loads of people would love it if they put it. Like, if we put it on for your niece now, she'd probably sit there and watch it all day. She wouldn't know what's going on, but she would watch it anyway, because again, the animation is cool and it's very girlish.
What's the trend with all these monkeys? There's a lot of monkeys in a lot.
I said that as well. That's the first thing on my list on the notes. It's like, why is there so many monkeys in all these cartoons? There's monkeys in nearly all of them. Like, Eva Monkey. I don't know. There was a different type of monkey in the teenage years when I was doing stuff, so it ended up number 8 in my list.
I am absolutely fuming.
Go for it.
This absolutely no. I'm fuming at ye. This is absolutely slanderous the way you're going on. The Powerpuff Girls are amazing. I love the Powerpuff Girls. I would wear the hell out of a Penny's t-shirt that had Powerpuff Girls on. I'm not even joking.
They getting you for Christmas.
Hey, I saw a Powerpuff Girls t-shirt in America and I was still like, man, I should have got that. Like, I think the Powerpuff Girls are awesome. It's like proper old school kind of Sunday morning cartoon of like, oh, superheroes, but it's also turned on its head by having really weird animation and a meta strange sense of humor. Like the narrator becomes a character. They break the fourth wall. I love the character designs. It's Craig McCracken, as you said, but it's also Gendry Tartarovsky, who also did Dexter's Lab. Samurai Jack, which Phil, you were mentioning the professor. If you ever look at the professor and Samurai Jack, it's like the same thing. I think it's funny. The weird ass villains, and we only get 2 of them in this episode. I think the fact that the stories are split into 2 is like the perfect amount of time. We have other ones here that are kind of anthologies, but I think just those short ones are about as much as you can take. But like, I mean, like we have a character called Sedusa. That's awesome. That is amazing. And she's called I'm a Good Lady. It's so silly and stupid. Like, I don't know. I just think it's absolute madness. I love the art style. I think it has a lot of strangeness. I love how distinct and different the Powerpuff Girls are and their personalities. That was like, and you said about a girls' show. I think this is one of those shows that for a lot of people my age was like, oh, girls' shows can be good. That was this like, and there's even an episode where there's a boy version of Powerpuff Girls as well. Like in later episodes, like I actually will say this: I watched the Powerpuff Girls a couple of years back, just because it popped into my head, and I was like, "Is it hold up?" And I watched a few episodes. I was like, "Shit, it's pretty good." I probably would watch more of this. This is number 2 for me. This is well up there.
What?
I think the theme song. I think the theme song is awesome as well. I mean, like, how can you not get behind it? Look up Christian Bale loves this theme song. There's an interview of him singing this where he's just like, "What do you watch with your girls?" And he's like, "The Powerpuff Girls, oh, they're awesome, fighting crime." I mean, listen, it's got his approval. I don't need your approval at all. I'm Team Powerpuff all the way.
What are you talking about? Christian Bale isn't English.
He's not. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just outed him there as English. Oh, and by the way, Mojo Jojo. How can you not love like Mojo Jojo? Who, by the way, same voice as Ghostface.
Pray for Mojo. Pray for Mojo. That was a rip-off.
Yeah, no,
what I really liked about it, I thought it reminded me a lot of Scott Pilgrim animation.
Yes, yeah, I can get that. But I think it was even the coolness and the weirdness and the variety of it. Like they like in the first episode, they get turned into dogs, and we get the Powerpuff Girls fighting as dogs. That's just fun and cool. I don't know what to say. I'm all about it. I'm Team Powerpuff all the way.
No,
I'm down in that Chemical X all the way.
Go for it, 100%. Now, Tom, not to say that you were DD.
Didi.
Mentional
fromage. Now, if you want me, do you want me to talk about that?
Delusional.
Oh God.
Well,
now wait until you see what I have number 10, because there's another round coming for that one. Trust me.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I think there was always kind of through the 80s, the 90s, the 90s, whatever decade you grew up in for your cartoon base. I think there was kind of always a Dexter's Lab. Do you know what I mean? There was kind of always. Did I hit you with the pen?
No, almost.
Sorry, right. Okay, I'll take that. There was always kind of like. There was always a nerdy genius cartoon. You know, I think there was every decade had its own, and Dexter's Lab was in next in our list. Dexter's Lab, I think, is the perfect after school cartoon. I think it was just, I actually really, really enjoyed it. It's right in the middle of my list at number 5. Dee Dee drove me nuts, but in the best possible way. And I loved the fact of that there was 2 Dee Dees then, and then there was 2 Dexter. I really, really enjoyed it, but then I liked that it stopped, you know, and we didn't get Groundhog Day. You know, so I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was really, really nice. I thought it was easy on the eye. There wasn't too much going on in one thing. I was able to focus on what the characters were saying and what they were doing and not lose the plot, trying to figure out the plot, if that makes sense. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed Dexter's Lab, and it's right in the middle of my list at number 5. Tell us, darling, Dexter.
Dexter, what's not to love?
Yeah.
Again, it's one of them cartoons that I grew up watching, and I watched it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I was a nerdy scientist kind of kid, like, but you could get behind him. But you could also get behind Dee Dee because you wanted to be her annoying your other siblings.
Yes.
Like, I'm not sure, is she older or younger than Dexter? They never really tell us much about the characters. Like, you never get their surnames. You never find out his parents' names. Not sure, but she has like the older sibling or the younger sibling who keeps bugging him.
I always assumed she was the older.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
because
God, really?
she's taller, like, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
if she was or not. Because
What is a
again,
Joker?
this is Craig McCracken and his fucking whatever it is, whoever else helped him create it. Like, but Dexter was just brilliant. It was Rick and Morty before Rick and Morty.
Yes.
You know, there's so much stuff that you can watch now and that's probably inspired by some of the stuff that's happened in Dexter. I'm sure MCU stole a lot of stuff from him whenever they were creating some of the movies. There's fucking, I don't know, I can't remember how many of the episodes there was, like, but this is one of them ones where you could go back and watch it over and over again. Sit on the couch with a bowl of cereal and just sit there and just going, yep, this is it. This is a nice, relaxing Sunday morning. Do nothing and watch Dexter's Lab. Ended up number 4 for me.
Wow, excellent. Number 4 on the list. Excellent. Tom, tell us about Dexter.
I just checked anyway. Yeah, Dee Dee is the older sister. I don't know if they're ever real ages, but apparently she's the older sister anyway. Yeah, this is one that I watched a fair bit of growing up. I mean, first of all, I love the the theme songs. Oh, like, I mean, like, even the one like do 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 is great, but like the one at the end is so fucking weird. Like, Dexter's Laboratory. Like, what is going on? It's awesome. But I will say, maybe it's just the first episode. I was a little bit let down by this. Because I did have it so high in my hopes that it was going to be great. No, I will say I also ended up accidentally, because the order of the episodes is all over the place. On the stream service, I ended up watching like 2 episodes by accident, and I didn't like the other episode I saw either. So maybe that colored my interpretation when I actually watched.
Was there a monkey involved in this episode?
There might have been, actually. There was definitely a dial-in for monkey in this episode.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. Dial-in for monkey in all of these was like,
yeah. The one I saw was a superhero one. Before that, I can't remember whether they were both auditioning to be a psychic. But you know, it's a weird show, and I kind of appreciate that. It has 3 segments. I think 3 segments for this felt a little bit too much. It felt for me like it was just a little bit like, and some segments felt way stronger than others, that it just kind of lost me a little bit. I did like the when they did the dial-in for monkey episode, that the animation style was a little bit different. I thought that was cool. You know, obviously the voice work is amazing. Like Dexter, I don't know why he speaks like an Eastern European immigrant, like, but it's awesome. You know, like, oh, Diddy. I looked that up as well. There's like there was like a big thing about like what a lot of people asked this question, and your man answered it, didn't he?
Yeah, he said.
Is that what you were going to say?
A voicemail left on an answer machine or something. It was taking the.
Oh, was that that was the origin of the voice? Was it?
I think so. It sounds something similar to that, but they threw in a lot.
Oh, right. I meant like, why does the character like have that accent? And I think he said something like, "Oh, it's Dexter because he's probably imagines all these great scientists and they all sound like this because they're from whatever part of Europe."
They're all from that part of Europe.
Yeah,
it's like he had
more
actually notions. Do you know what I mean? Like the baby with Dede was just
baby Dede. Yeah, amazing. That's funny, actually. You mentioned the voice work, and the was a character in King of the Hill, and they got the voice the same way because someone left an angry voice message during Beavis and Butthead. But I digress. Yeah, I know. I thought there was also kind of a sweetness like to it, like when Dexter like sees his mom sick and he's just like, "You fool, mothers don't get sick; they take care of the sickly." You know, I was like, "Oh," and the mom robots and stuff as well. I thought it was fun. I thought it was maybe a little bit too weird for its own good, and I feel like if I kind of got into it more, maybe I'd like it. But I'd say I probably only liked maybe 1.5 of the segments. Maybe I didn't like the whole episode. Like, I didn't know the dial-in for monkey one was like, okay, fine, and I kind of forgot that was a thing. Maybe altogether, to be honest, before I watched this. But yeah, no, for me it's like solidly in the middle. It's number 5.
If you are a wrestling fan, go and watch the second one. Dial M for Wrestler. There's a Wrestler episode with Macho Man is in.
That's amazing.
Oh my god!
It's the second episode, so if you want to if you are watching this and you are into wrestling, go watch the second episode anyway, just for the laugh.
There you go, Dexter touching all bases. Phil, were you dialing D for Dexter?
I might put it as number 3.
Excellent.
And I pretty much have the same thing. It was just fun again to watch. But there was a weird thing that caught my eye in it that I found very strange. Because I was thinking one of you might mention it, but you didn't. But he takes off his shirt and he's ripped.
Yeah, I saw that. That was very odd. I thought that as well.
Yeah,
I was trying to not to mention it, Phil.
It's a really odd thing for a kid's animation.
Oh, that's so weird.
that stuff like that is why I was like, surely that's why they had to mention Ren and Stimpy, because that feels like such a Ren and Stimpyism, like, you know, where they just have weird, like, weird body parts out of nowhere with no explanation. And they're like, kids probably think it's hilarious, but like what? Why weird? Okay.
But I think I'd be the exact same though as you, Tom. I think it was 1.5. I think that it was just the middle one didn't seem to. How long was he in it for? Like 10 seconds in the middle.
Yeah, he was there. He said like one thing to the monkey as a setup, and that was kind of it, I think, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like
they do that. The spin-offs, like the inside them, like, or if you watch all the seasons, they're all pretty similar. Like, it's just the way they introduce the monkey episodes. They all seem to go.
Yeah, I think if I was watching this through, I'd probably skip some of those segments, to be honest.
Yeah. Again, I probably will rewatch some of these, but I don't think I'd watch them all.
I can't get Ripped Dexter out of my head. It's just really weird. It's right up there with, like, you know, when you change Ken doll's clothes and realize there's nothing there. It's kind of like the reverse of that, if that makes sense.
Like, oh God, why is that there?
Yeah, okay.
What?
There's something missing there, but he's right. Yeah, conversation's going in a very took a harsh right turn there. It did, but the one who doesn't take harsh right turns when he's whizzing around to save the world is, of course, Captain Planet and his Planeteer.
Earth,
Wind.
Go Power Rangers.
What?
Oh my God!
Oh, I did not.
You're not going to get me excited for this. Sorry.
You're grand. Come here to me now. Look, we will sort out the environment and the world ourselves. We're grand.
Let's go to them first.
We're grand. Absolutely, I think it will.
Like, who put this in there? Like, I know they made this, but like, this is ridiculous. I'm going to find this guy.
Who put this in there?
I'm going to find this guy and email him later.
Yeah. Oh, he's getting the flood of emails after this.
Oh my God!
Well,
that statement you're going to have to elaborate a bit.
Well, I'd want to put it at 100, but I can't.
Why, Phil?
It's just so bad, and I sent off a bad message as well.
You don't want to save the planet?
Yeah.
Go, Phil. Go. I'm on your side. Don't listen to them.
Like, there's just so many rip-offs in this. Like, it's unbelievable.
Oh my God!
There's a Star Wars rip-off. There's like, it's just Power Rangers. I just can't get Power Rangers out of my head for the whole thing.
Oh my God!
Did you hate it as well?
Oh God! Come here, Tom. Back up.
Hang on. Phil, are you done?
No, it was just that bad. I don't want it.
Where was it in your list?
10.
Did you never watch this growing up?
No, and I don't want to watch it again.
Top of Phil's list.
Tom?
Wow,
yeah, it's number 10 on my list as well. I couldn't stand this. The voice work was so annoying. It was such a lame show. Like, I know, like, obviously their intentions are good, like save the environment and all that stuff. It's the lamest show. It's like something like, and again, speaking from personal experience, it's like something like a school teacher or a priest comes up with to teach a message. It's so fucking lame. It's like, and the villains are so paper thin. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just going to take the oil. And you're like, any other no, that's it. Okay, right. There's probably like in reality, you know, probably it could be a small independent business owner that he's just like, hey, bang, could be putting his family out on the breadline, like, you know, just something to think about Captain Planet. Like, I mean, how is anyone meant to get excited about, like, here comes Captain Planet? Oh wow, he's putting a rock on a pipe. Wow, that's exciting. God, that'll get the kids interested. I mean, also, by the way, like, they all have rings, right? And then immediately they're like, we put our rings together and it makes Captain Planet. Why do we need the rings? Because they're like basically like, oh, it makes Captain Planet. And Captain Planet is like, oh, now I have all of your powers and I'm stronger. So it's like, why do we need these annoying kids just standing around being like, go Captain Planet? Yeah. It's like, it's because obviously I guess kids couldn't relate to some whatever he is in some alien mystical being. They were like, we need kids to shout at him. And then, oh God, it's just, there was no exciting action. I hated Captain Planet, the character and the show. Yeah, I don't know. I started a forest fire after this just to make up for it, and then I fucking dumped all my stuff in a landfill. And you know what? That's on Captain Planet. No, he belongs in the bin. I'll put him at number 10.
The funny thing is, I actually watched this. I watched this twice because I couldn't get into it the first time.
Jesus Christ. There's the two boys who were on the fucking coastline emptying the oil. Look after the two of them are mother
jump
of
into your
Yeah.
fucking 4x4 diesel golden fucking.
Listen, you can go on and on about saving the environment. At the end of the day, when we're talking about cartoons, it's a shite cartoon. They would have been better off just putting up their message for 20 minutes straight, and it would have been like, fair enough. This was an aggressive waste of my time.
Oh my God, can you save this?
Can I save it? I can't save the planet with these two fuckers around, anyway.
No, you can't. They definitely throw their coffee cup out the fucking window in traffic, don't they? Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put this. It's number 5 in my list. Not number 5 because of how good the cartoon was. It's number 5 is how good the theme song was.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing I remember about it growing up more than anything else. The theme tune was a fucking banger.
Yeah.
And it's constantly played in Today FM. If you listen to Ray Foley show, like he always does Laser Radio on a Friday, and he always picks out theme songs from the 90s cartoons just to play for fucking 15 minutes. And this is always on it. Even if he picks something else, like he always ends up going back to this.
You're in shock, like.
It was the pilot episode was the way of introducing the characters. I don't know if all of the episodes are as cringy as this one. Like, there's a lot of big actors in this fucking cartoon. Like Whoopi Goldberg was Gaia. She fucking gave them all the rings. I think the reason they all have rings and not have just Captain Planet exist on his own is they all have, like, whoever has the heart ring, they have the heart. That's the ring that keeps them all together. Like the character, I can't remember the name of the character who has the heart ring. It's because she has the biggest heart. I can't really save your opinions on it. Like,
sing the song, love. Sing the song. That will help them.
I don't think it. I think the lads are about to walk off the show if I sing that song.
Okay, right.
Tim Curry is a voice in it.
What?
Tim Curry is a voice in that.
There's a load of people. There's loads of Oscar-winning actors and actresses.
Meg Ryan
have all had roles in it.
Wow, so 5 on your list.
Ed Asner, actually, who played. Anybody doesn't know who Ed Asner is? Played Hoggish Greedy. He played Santa Claus in Elf movie with.
Was this like something that they would get sentenced to if they like had a crime? It's like, this is what you're saying. Your community services voicing Captain Planet. Is that what they did? Like,
Tom Cruise was originally cast to play Captain Planet and recorded 6 episodes, but he had to drop out. And
because he saw the show.
It was against Scientology.
He went off to do. I think he went off to do.
Mission Impossible.
No, Far and Away or something with fucking Nicole Kidman, that wicked fucking Irish film that destroyed.
Well, I've not been funny now. Would he not have been better off staying there with the boys and the rings?
And what? Not do Mission Impossible?
No, not too far and away.
He's saving the planet with Mission Impossible.
But God help us. Can we not break free? No, Tom, you can't. And we can't break free from listening to that.
Anyway, where does Captain Planet?
Captain Planet on my list, you're going to howl, lads. Captain Planet on my list is at numero 2. It's number 2 on my list. Absolutely number 2 on my list. Why? Banging theme tune. Absolute banging theme tune that I can sing word for word. And if you come at me for being at number 2 on my list, I will sing it word for word. In fact, I will leave you voice notes, okay, about how you can be a Planeteer as well, okay? I absolutely loved Captain Planet. And if you were to ask me, there's 2 cartoons on this list that would stand out. Sorry, 3 that would stand out from my childhood. And this is absolutely one of them. It was honestly, the biggest thing for me was the theme song, right? That it was sing along. And I would 100% when we watch this, when the show, what did I say to you during the cartoon? I can't wait
for the ending.
Yeah, I can't wait for the ending. Why they're going to sing the song, right? And that's how excited I was about it, and I was totally invested in the episode. I thought it was great that how do I say it? That there was environmental tips in the cartoon, because I think for the age I was when I watched it, I would have paid attention to them and about littering and what you need to do and that kind of crack. So I did like that, and I liked that it was presented in a way with the kids in the rings. Okay, I did like that, I have to say. And then there was always like an environmental there was a message, like obviously there was messages coming through the episode, but the little tips that are at the end of it as well, where Captain Planet would tell you what you need to do to save the world and all this kind of crap. One thing that did make me laugh, right, and probably maybe why it's not in the top of my list, is because when Captain Planet was trapped under the rock, right, all of their powers were gone, so they filled a sheet with water and threw it over Captain Planet to clean the oil off him. I thought that was amazing. I was like, you see, that's why you were chosen, lads. You were wondering why you were getting the rings. That's why you were chosen. Innovative.
They should have just whipped out and pissed all over him.
No, but you can't. The kid's cartoon, Captain Planet's in trouble. Oh, quick, whip your Mickey out and wit on him. No.
They don't have to show it.
My God. Well, imagine it after school.
Just their back.
Fire with their Mickeys out. Cleaning oil off Captain Planet. Oh my God. Anyway, yes, that was 2 on my list. But Jesus Christ, by the reception that's going on, I think we better move on. I tell you, the temperatures drop, lads. 'Tis frosty. 'Tis frosty. These 2 feckers on Captain Planet, I actually can't get over it. That was a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. Something that also was a lot worse than maybe a lot of us thought it was going to be. Another catchy theme tune, very, very catchy theme tune, but for me, that couldn't save it. James Bond Jr. Dun dun dun. I'll save my wrap up for James Bond Jr. for a little bit. Tom, was he the one that you want to chase scum around the world for you, or not?
I did not love this spy at all. No, I have never seen this. Growing up, I'm a fairly big James Bond fan now. Nope, this is just not the one. It's just not, like, it's lame. It's basically like, I don't know. I actually made a note that I found finishing this quite hard. I just was so bored by the whole thing. It feels so really kind of just pointless. It's like, oh, he's James Bond, but he's not. He's James Bond Jr. Okay, well, what does he do different? Well, he's he's got his own queue. Yeah, like Bond. Oh yeah, but he's also got all these people that are basically just surrogates of the characters. Like, he's fighting Jaws. He's got a friend named Lighter. It's like,
yeah,
why would anyone bother with this? Just shite animation to put up with this when they could just watch a Bond movie. I just didn't think it was very good. I thought the voice work was annoying. I thought all the appeal of Bond was just not here because you're watching kind of crappy animation or explosions and fistfights and that kind of thing or whatever. And all that's done better in the movies. I just didn't get really the point of this. It's very, very early 90s. Yeah, I don't know. And maybe that was why people like this, because it was like, oh, well, we can't watch Bond whenever we want because the technology doesn't exist in the 90s or whatever. Now, you can. So I don't know why you wouldn't bother. It feels like a relic. Honestly, it felt like an 80s kind of holdover, like when they were adapting everything. I just didn't think it was very good. For me, it's like way down the list. Yeah, it's number 9. Not good. Not having any interest in seeing any more of it. I'd say the Broccoli Estate would probably be happy if everyone forgot about this, to be honest.
James Bond Jr. at number 9 in Tom's list. Phil, what about you? Was James Bond Jr. your hero?
Oh, it was very slow action. It didn't seem to get going at all. And then Jaws was the least menacing villain I've ever seen in an animation. I actually put this at 8. I put it as number 8. It wasn't particularly brilliant, and I don't want to watch any more of it. Not a lot happened in it, and also it was really, really dumb that he was tricked into going to the post office so that he could just walk in and steal his car.
Yeah,
it was just so lame
and so un-James Bond like.
Yeah, it was just so lame like.
Yeah, and did any of you get the feeling that they were trying to squash a James Bond movie into a cartoon in like a couple of minutes? Because you had your there was all of it was just so many characters in that very short cartoon, but then we're going to steal your car, and it was like, that's a bit,
because isn't that sort of what a cool James Bond plot? Oh, they're going to steal Bond's car.
Yeah. And I feel like that there was such a big emphasis and focus throughout the movies for his car, but it was just a bit fucking anticlimactic and a tad lame, And
the whole thing was like there was nothing in the car, and the whole it was like, okay, this is bad, just bad.
And, like, for him to be introduced firstly as kind of, well, the way he came across to it, he was like absolute dickhead, rolling up to school late in his Aston Martin, and you were just like, you already didn't want to like him, right? So, but like then you have to, because he was the good guy, and then obviously, you know, you had fucking IQ, was it grandson of Q, wasn't it, or something like that, or fucking nephew, or, you know, once removed, whatever. But then, like, and of course he had to be like, he wasn't like, you know, smart. It was like they had to have the most dumbed down version of the James Bond stars to make this cartoon, because they're teenagers and they're coming of age and they don't know any better and they're just really finding all these things for themselves. So you had to have that fucking bumbling English idiot with the you know, and and I was just like, fucking spit it out, IQ, because I just couldn't listen to that fucking anymore. Like, I just don't know what to say because, should I really be here? And fuck off, IQ.
Calm down, Charles.
You know what I mean? Well,
you're king of fucking England.
Hey, come here. I'm queen of this fucking world, and that's what matters. All right. But yeah, it was just a little bit, yeah. So it was 8 on my list. Tell me.
It was 6 on my list.
Okay.
Only because there was a few that I didn't like less. Again, it's another one of those just pointless cartoons that didn't they ever need to happen. If they wanted to make a cartoon, a James Bond cartoon, they should have done like a backstory James Bond cartoon about how he, you know, became James Bond, basically, if they wanted to do something. Like, we've never really had that story out there, you know, the origin story of James Bond has never been done. They could have easily turned that in the cartoon where James was in some preppy fucking school or Oxford or Cambridge or some one of them fucking yuppie fucking colleges. James Bond and the stories, the books, if anybody doesn't know, has no brothers and sisters. There's no reason for the character to be called James Bond Jr. You could only be called
without explanation.
Well, he'd only be called Junior if he was James Bond's son.
Yeah.
You know, the nephew can't be called Junior. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. That's number 6.
It didn't do well, did it? Obviously, it didn't.
Like, again, it's one of those, because
it had one season of 65 episodes, so I wonder if it's just that used to be like the number for syndication. So I'd say they probably just ordered all of it, got it done, and that was the end of it.
I don't know if it was how popular it was. It was definitely popular because of the theme song. Like, the theme song was, again, those 90s cartoons. The theme songs were always fucking wicked. Like, they're more memorable. Like, again, if you go back to what I said earlier about Today FM, your man Ray Foley, this is another one of those songs he goes back to. But I guarantee if you asked him, you know, what happened in an episode, he wouldn't be able to tell you, because it's not memorable at all. So it's definitely not something I'd go back and watch again.
Yeah, 100%. It is. It's just
also, as well, Bond is not synonymous for flying cars either.
No, it was just like the biggest exaggerated version of
stuff you can get away with in cartoons.
Exactly, you know, so they pushed it to the limit. But, you know, just assuming that, you know, his nephew drives an Aston Martin, we've absolutely no idea where he's come from. There's no story behind him, or if there's any indication that he would ever become like an inkling of what his uncle or whatever the fuck. It was just, it was just missing an awful lot. Something I definitely didn't miss an awful lot of, or I wish I missed more of. And I come here, I'm actually going to go first on this one, because fuck off. I'm actually going to go first on this one because I know that you want. I tell you this much now, mate, I will literally make earrings out of them and wear them on the next show. I'm going to go first because I'm going to go first because I know that I'll be the only one, pretty sure that I'm the only one. Phil might have my back, who is going to rip this to shit now, right? Johnny freaking Bravo. I didn't have the pleasure when I was younger to watch Johnny Bravo, but unfortunately I had the displeasure of having to watch it as a fully grown adult. Johnny Bravo, for me, is the guy that you do everything in your power to avoid in any life circumstance, right? I know for a fact there is a bar in Cork that shall remain nameless that is full of Johnny Bravos, right? Absolutely. You know it.
More than one.
He's the fella who opens his car before he comes out of the shop in the petrol station so we can all see what he just done, right? He's him. He's the guy who wears the jeans that are a size too short. He's the guy who grunts in the gym. He's the guy who kisses his muscles. He's the guy with the hair that's just rock hard and is just so unbelievably enthused in his own presence and the fact that we're blessed with his existence, that I can't fucking stand him. He makes my skin crawl. He's a cartoon, which is awful because it really did swing my judgment on this cartoon. Okay, and then he got stranded on the island of beautiful women. And just when I thought this couldn't get any fucking worse, he was surrounded by Amazonian beauties and just, he makes me feel dirty. He makes me feel like I need a shower and that I can feel him leeching on me inside the nameless bar in Cork City. So and the fact is, I know that it's a character. I know that it's like really funny and hardy, but I was so disgusted by Johnny Bravo that it was very hard for me to concentrate on the cartoon, because what was I like during it? I was like, oh my God, he is just everything I try to avoid in my life and he's on me telly. It was just, no, thank you, no. But a man wrote this. Don't tell me any different. I didn't look it up, happily admit it, but don't tell me that a man did not write this and think this is hilarious. And he definitely played college football, whoever wrote it. So he's number 10 on my list. Absolutely fucking 10. Off with your boys. Go on, big him up.
I put it 6.
Okay, Finn, not so bad. Not so bad.
There was a lot of issues in it that I didn't like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of force on women.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. Obviously, it would not be made today, even though I thought they were making it. There was someone supposed to be making it. Was it the Rock Rumor at one point?
I was just pissed that he dressed up as him once for Halloween or something.
Yeah, but there's a lot of problems with it. But it's not the worst thing on the list. It was, yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of things like that. Like you said, there made me kind of, made me think about.
Did you watch this growing up?
No, and that's the first time I seen it. I knew it was Macho Man.
It would have been hilarious when I was 5.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way, because I wouldn't have understood any of the undertones in it, you know, but the fact that I won't know, I'm just like, oh God, you know,
and the kid keep on poking him and he's not answering unless they talk about the women is kind of, you know, it's just all those little things.
Yeah. I think it's probably just down to the people.
The more you think about it, the more you say it out loud, the more it should probably be number 10, but you know what I mean?
But look.
Tom?
Yeah, this is the one I saw when I was younger, right? And when I was younger, I thought it was funny. Doesn't hold up at all. Has not aged well at all. I think definitely there's probably people out there that I've met that are like, that probably hold up Johnny Bravo. Was like, oh, he was class on, you know, and there probably is Johnny Bravos, a lot of Johnny Bravos out there in real life. Yeah, has not aged well. I like the kind of voice work. That's about it. The theme music is kind of catchy. That's about it. I mean, even outside the Johnny Bravo segments, they had like, what was that, Jungle Boy, that segment? That just wasn't very good either. That just wasn't very good at all.
Monkey stuff again in there.
Yeah, there's all about monkeys there.
Yeah.
The 90s was big for monkeys. But yeah, for me, it was number 7. It just wasn't very good. It was one that when I saw on the list, I was like, oh, I remember liking that and thinking it was funny. Oh, that'd be good. No. I knew there was going to be some troublesome undertones, and it kind of was even worse. Maybe there's episodes where they do a little bit better, but I'm not confident in that. And yeah, I'm not going to watch it anymore.
The bear one wasn't too bad. That's why it would be higher on my list, because of the bear.
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I was more entertained by this than some of the other ones, but it wasn't good. Like, and it was very hard to watch with modern eyes in that regard. You're like,
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Sam, this is something I would have watched growing up as well, and I thought it was hilarious back in the 90s, but yeah, it doesn't hold up at all anymore. It's number 9 in my list. Jesus, fucking hell. And just for one episode, like, some of the stuff, like, just randomly grabbing women in the street and kissing them, like, within the first 5 fucking seconds.
It's
like,
mad. It's madness, isn't it? To just think, like, in the 90s, it was like, yeah, that's a kid's cartoon.
But when you go back now, you go back to the early, like Liz would have experienced this, not us, like
Not a cartoon. That's the
not
thing.
not maybe a cartoon. I mean, we were adolescent teenagers in the 90s watching this.
Yeah.
At a couple of years later, we were going out buying going out, drinking in the streets or whatever before you can get into the nightclubs or whatever you were doing, and this was your inspiration for chatting up women was Johnny fucking Bravo.
Yeah.
I know people who are absolutely obsessed.
I just want to get it on the record that by the time the 90s ended, I was only 8. I was not at any interest in women at that point. I was not drinking it the following year. I was still I hadn't barely just made my communion, just for the record. Okay.
I know for a fact people use Johnny Bravo chat up lines.
Yeah.
That's how sad this was now. And they would have got it, not I'm saying they were inspired by Johnny Bravo, but they would have took things that they saw in Johnny Bravo, not realizing subconsciously, and just, grabbing people and maybe using some fucking stupid line that Johnny Bravo would use.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't realize they were doing it because they were after a load of drink and they would think it's cool.
Yeah.
Because they saw it on TV, and this could never be aired on TV again.
No.
And if they are remaking it, fucking God help them if they do.
Yeah, but like, I mean, and the thing is as well, because absolutely you're right, guys definitely base themselves on it because you can see from the hair, and I'd be pretty sure the sales of black t-shirts went through the roof, right?
Never skip leg day.
Yeah, it was, well, anyway, let's just skip Johnny Bravo but, and as well, as you said, people would have done it for the laugh, but Johnny Bravo is grabbing a cartoon and hugging a cartoon and cracking all of these lines and all of this, like, machismo, all this machismo on a cartoon, but it doesn't translate to real life at all when you're doing it to women in the street, like, which people would have thought it was like really, really funny. And like, this is on a very serious note, the amount of times I've walked down the street and had, close brushes and people think it's okay to grab your ass when you're walking down the street as a person, you know what I mean? And like, you'd be wondering, like, it's very serious tones this now, but you'd be wondering, like, where does that come from that's all right? Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying it's Johnny Bravo, but
go back
when you think about it, like
back to the 50s and 60s movies, like, they were just grabbing people in films and just kissing them anyway. Like, that's just the way it was.
Exactly.
Like, that's not. This is just the way it was, wasn't it? This generational thing that needs to be gone. Like, it's we're not going to get into fucking Vince McMahon, like, but it's a generational thing that needs to be out of society completely, like, and needs to be not tolerated at all. There shouldn't be any tolerance for kind of shit like this. It needs to be a thing of the past.
But that's it. Now, thankfully, look, come here, things have improved massively as well, right? I highly recommend finding somebody who can get you mace. That's what I did, and I carried it, and I have used it on occasions. Now, it was then confiscated because I forgot to take it out of my handbag going into a nightclub. Rookie mistake. But it is great to see that it has improved and stuff like that. But bottom line, it's not a cartoon going down the street. But yeah, this just reeked of everything that I absolutely avoid in any circle of my life. Something that I definitely didn't avoid in any circle of my life when I was younger, and I thoroughly enjoyed it as a cartoon, was the Animaniacs. Like, it literally was zany to the max, right? It was just so many characters in one show, right? You didn't know who you were going to get. You didn't know what was going to come on next. Whether it was going to be Elmira, wasn't it? With oh my God, Elmira's me. I'm Elmira. I absolutely am Elmira. I wouldn't have and Squeezer and
she was tiny.
She was in,
and then eventually there was a spin-off called Pinky, Elmira and the Brain, I think.
Yeah, she was in Animaniacs as well.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she was. She was snipped in there as well. And exactly, Pinky and the Brain, and the pigeons who were always fighting as well. Over nothing.
Good feathers.
Brilliant. Like, I mean, definitely, 3 New York pigeons. It was just so good, like, thoroughly enjoyable. And of course, probably the catchiest theme tune out of any of these cartoons. Like, very, very few people cannot sing this word for word, I would think so, or have a good old take on it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I love that I didn't know what segment was coming up next. Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. I think it's brilliant that we get their story in the theme tune. So a lot of the episode doesn't have to be based on that and what they do. But yeah, I absolutely love this. And I really, really looked forward to watching this when I was small. Really, really looked forward to this and sang along as well, louder than I did to Captain Planet. there you go. Without any question, number 1 on my list. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
How about yourselves?
I'm definitely going to have to continue watching this one because I put it as 5.
Okay.
Mainly because I didn't like the counseling, so I thought it was just too boring.
Can I ask, you haven't watched anything beyond episode 1, have you?
No.
Episode 2 is an absolute banger. So episode 2 is the first Pinky in the Brain segment. We get Yakko's Countries of the World, if you've never heard that, which is amazing.
Unreal.
It's like, episode 2, I watched that following episode, I was like, this is a banger. Sorry to cut across, so go ahead.
No, you're fine, like, because I was watching, I was like, this counseling thing, and then the song, the second part, I didn't like the song. I didn't really get into the song, I just don't know what it was. But
the theme song?
No.
Oh, there was like a
right. Sorry.
The monkey. Oh, the monkey won't do.
Monkey?
No, the monkey won't do.
And then the nighttime one wasn't brilliant either.
1992.
Yes, so I thought it was okay. I was expecting a lot more from it.
That was more like introducing the characters and where they all.
Can I also say I was trying to remember what else was in the second episode. The second episode, they meet Albert Einstein and basically explain the reason how they gave him the theory of relativity, and it actually makes sense.
What I did love was all the animated images on the walls. They were cool.
Yeah,
like Jack Nicholson and all these.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a classic one. This is definitely one that another one of those that's going to have to be rewatched. Tom said about the second episode with the map of the world. That's on YouTube. That just that song alone, I definitely watched that 100 times over the lifespan of YouTube. Probably watch it even more. I love this cartoon. I love the fact that we haven't been introduced to the main, the rest of the characters first. It was just mainly based on Yakko, Wakko, and Dot, just so we can understand who the fuck they are. We never find out throughout the whole seasons what they are. They're not, what creatures they are, what species they are.
They have a whole song about that as well, where they're asking about what they are. They're mostly what we are is cute.
Yeah, very much. They're just the Warner brothers and
the Warner sister Dot. Yeah.
And that's leaves everybody hanging for the whole time. And we never ever find out where they are. Yakko was based on Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
Wakko was based on Ringo Starr. And Dot, I don't think she's based on anybody, but her head is shaped like the Warner Brothers Shield logo. So it's just like a mixture of fucking everything into all these characters, and it just gets better and better throughout every episode. So if there's anything on this list that you do decide to watch back if you've never seen it before, I can definitely highly recommend watching.
It doesn't help they're very hard to find.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't easy, were they?
I don't know. Is there some fucking Warner Brothers? Do they have their own fucking app? No, did they have all their old characters?
They would. I don't know where it is. I could look it up and see if it's on anything, but I don't think, because they revived it and it ended up on Hulu.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know where the original episodes ended up.
Nothing else.
I guess. Yeah.
Didn't we used to have time for another good idea, bad idea in Animaniacs?
Good idea.
Oh my god.
Idea.
Good idea playing catch with your grandpa. Bad idea playing catch with your grandpa.
The stuff used to come, you'd be like, oh my god.
They were brilliant.
So good.
Yeah, it's not on anything. It's not even on anything in America. It's just
weird. Like, I don't know why there's no fucking network with all the cartoons. Like, I know they're all different studios, but there fucking should be some one big.
Imagine, right? Sorry, lovely, to cut across. You where did this go on your list?
Oh, sorry, number 3.
Lovely. Do you know what would be really, really cool? And I don't know if you would or not now, but how many of us would actually go to the cinema on a Saturday morning to watch 3 hours of cartoons? I 100% would.
Oh,
yeah, you would, wouldn't you? It wouldn't be the best thing and watch.
And instead of serving fizzy drinks, they serve you cereal and milk in a cup.
Yeah. Or when you toast the toast just right? And it's that lovely color with the nice bit of butter, and then you just you have about 5 slices of it because it's just for some reason the grill or the toaster is just really behaving itself that day, and you're like I'm totally going to keep me in these watching my cartoons. I'm telling you now, we need to get onto every
We should get onto the Marina Market.
cinema chain or the Marina Market. I would now Marina Market be breezy, be a little bit chilly, so it'd have to probably be during the summer. But I would totally sit in the Max screen inside in Mahon Point, and I would watch in my little recliny chair cartoons all that morning in my PJs and fluffy socks.
I came across something on Prime there. There's like 3-hour random cartoon thing. You don't know what you're getting.
Oh, I've seen that before. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a mix of all these. I think a lot of them are like out or are they copyright free cartoons or something maybe. If it's
What did we say? Prime.
Prime Video, yeah.
Oh, they have Prime. I have a little look at that. Excellent. Tom, tell us, were you enthused by the Animaniacs?
I think like of all the cartoons I can think about that inspired my sense of humor, Animaniacs is a big one. I loved Animaniacs. It was also a show that like was so good that like I was into it. My dad liked watching Animaniacs as well, you know. It's just absolute insanity. I love it. It's got a weird, strange meta Hollywood vibe as well. That like as a kid I probably didn't understand all, but now as an adult I can appreciate. Even like their names, they're the Warner Brothers, and when you look at the way Warner Brothers written, it's Warner Brothers dot like an abbreviation. So she's called Dot because of that. I love so much of this. I like the celebrities as a Porky Pig cameo, just to add to the insanity. It's full of some corny, dumb jokes as well that are so good. They just make jokes out of nowhere that like it's almost like it's like an anti-show in some ways. It's like here's the plot, and then meanwhile they'll just do some random joke that doesn't drive the plot forward, doesn't add anything, but you're like, this is great, this is hilarious. That sort of stuff. Like it has some really quotable stuff in it as well. And I think basically like all the when they just make random jokes and just cutaways to nothing, that's like what I've aspired to in my life in human conversation anyway, which is terrible. That like someone will be in a serious conversation, I'm like, here he's doing it. I'm saying something funny. Oh, sorry, that was a serious conversation. Sorry. So it's definitely added to that. I mean, also like them winding up Dr. Scratch and Sniff. I definitely agree with Phil. I think that felt a little bit long, but some of the jokes are hilarious. Like, I mean, God. When like Wacko is like when he's like, what is on your mind? And he's like, oh, I get it, my hat. No, not your hat, your hair. And then he goes, no, your hair is on your head. No, it's not. It's just 10 out of 10. Amazing. Like, I mean, like I popped when I saw the Goodfellas in the camera. I was like, oh yes, the Goodfellas. The songs are a lot of fun. I think as well. This is a very musical show. Even talking about the Yakko's Countries of the World, like that was popular. I played that for kids a couple of years ago, and they all knew it because it was big on TikTok. It's like this thing is like generational. I think the voice work is amazing, the humor is amazing. This is one that I actually just randomly, obviously, I don't really watch TV anymore. And one day I was just some morning I just turned on and they were showing old Animaniacs, and I sat down and watched it. And it still held up. And then totally random chance, by the way, you're on about it being hard to find. I was in a charity shop in Cork, and they had this, which is an American DVD. No idea how it ended up in Cork.
Yeah.
Never been released in the UK. First volume of Animaniacs. I've already watched the second episode. I'm going to keep watching it. It is an amazing show. It's really, really funny. The second episode, like I said, is even better. And I love all the random characters. Yeah, this is one I'm definitely going to relive. Also, I thought the only thing that I thought was really weird is they have the Goodnight Tunes or whatever it was, and the narrator is Jim Cummings, but it's like Jim Cummings just doing Winnie the Pooh voice. And I was like, I thought Disney might be like, hey man, can you mix it up a little bit? No, but yeah, no. For me, this is I think for me the only reason it's not like higher, it's number 3 for me. I would say it'd be like number 2 or number 1, except I do think the first episode is a little bit long-winded. Like that first segment does feel very long, and then it's just 2 songs, so it's a little bit muddled. But like this felt like in so many ways it was like an anti-cartoon. It was like it was like total madness. The plot never mattered. They just made loads of random jokes, and then like to really give the middle finger to like shows like Captain Planet. Sometimes it would just be like, hey, we need to learn a lesson on this show. Wheel of morality, turn. What's the lesson that we should learn? Had nothing to do with anything. And then it's like, okay, there you go. You learned something. Bye. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, like Jesus.
The only reason they put on the Wheel of Morality throughout the seasons was whenever they were looking to fill up the time and they had run out of fucking script. They're like, let's just throw on a Wheel of Morality at the end of this episode.
It's amazing though. I just love it. It's so good.
So clever, isn't it? The whole show was so clever. Yeah, that was our list. that is everything discussed and chatted about and scored. I am going to go and work on them while you boys have a little chat.
Let's talk 90s cartoons that should have been on this fucking list. What have you got?
Oh man, there's a couple. I think like Recess is one I think would have been on it. I loved Recess. Recess is one everyone I know watched because the characters you could see like watching the characters in Recess, you were like, that person's in my class, that person, oh my god, I'm one of these characters. And like it was just such a cool, creative, simple show. If you went over to Nickelodeon, Rugrats was massive, man. Everyone loved Rugrats because it was just like, yeah, I can't believe that never made it.
My mother was obsessed with Rugrats.
It was so cool. It was like such a kind of a cute show in some way, but also incredibly weird. Like you look at the animation in Rugrats and it's demented looking. Like the babies are so ugly looking, like the way they're drawn.
Chucky.
Oh my god, like it's horrendous looking. Like and like the smallest things becomes the weirdest surreal thing ever. And then there's like cartoons that I watched that again maybe they wouldn't hold up, and that's maybe you could make that argument for like something like a Hey Arnold or Pepper Ann. I remember being catchy. Pepper Ann had a banger of a theme, but that's all I really remember about it. The only one that I think like some people would say why isn't it on the list is Doug.
Yeah,
I thought Doug was kind of boring, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of stuff. I think the problem it really demonstrates is like we were kind of really lucky in the 90s with the amount of cartoons. Like it felt like everyone was pumping out cartoons nonstop. Like so to narrow them to 10 is tough,
Like there was Spider-Man.
Yeah, there was. I was looking at there was like a whole Marvel like universe in cartoons, like, and they actually did cross over a little bit,
And the big one for me is Pokemon. That should have been on it.
Oh my god. Forget everything I said. Jesus, I forgot Pokemon would have been 90s. That's like that is criminal. That's not on the list. That was the 90s. Like,
yeah,
that is mental. Wow.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy, Beavis and Butthead. Obviously late 90s, 99, Family Guy, fucking South Park.
What year was Simpsons? 89 was it?
Simpsons, I think, was 89. But I think it's weird because when we did the 80s, that was not as well. So, and it's kind of what's weird with the phrasing of like cartoons, where like when we were saying cartoons, I'm including adult animation, or does that need a whole separate term? Because like as soon as I was like, I'm doing a podcast on 90s cartoons, someone was like, oh yeah, Beavis and Butthead. I'm like, it's not on it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
just kind of considering it, it's like the terminology is always weird,
Well, it's cartoons you would have grew up watching, after school before.
Yeah, I guess
Beavis and Butthead and stuff like that would have been on Channel 4 or late night stuff like Beavis and Butthead. As much as it was cartoon, it was also just MTV plug-in fucking music videos like this.
Yeah.
All it was.
I love Beavis and Butthead though.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like Tasmania, like that wasn't there. Like that was fucking another theme tune that was
Tasmania.
Was that Rocko's Modern Life?
Rocko's Modern Life, not there. What's the other one? There's Real Monsters? That was a big Nickelodeon one as well. Like there's so many things like so it's kind of a shame in some ways, but I also think that Futurama was 99, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, so that would be there. What was
The Tick?
Kablam? Was that 90s? Is that count as animation? I don't know. Somewhere else it were. Have you ever seen Kablam? Kablam is fucking amazing. I think it was called Kablam.
Yeah,
it was weird, ugly.
There's a list there. You could easily make a separate list completely of just adult animation or superhero animation. Like that could be completely separate. Like, and there was a Superman series out in the 90s. It didn't last very long. It was like 50 episodes or something. So we'll have to revisit it.
Yeah,
maybe.
There he has 90s as well.
King of the Hill.
I love King of the Hill.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm the only person who loves King of the Hill.
Ed and Eddie, SpongeBob.
Ed and Eddie was one I was like, yeah, that was like one of my favorite ones of the Cartoon Network ones, and that wasn't there, and that was kind of a shame.
Yeah,
that's another really weird show. Like
definitely something.
They're all weird. Like, is it any wonder the 90s people that grew up are such strange weirdos? It's like look at the stuff we watched as kids.
Rocket Power.
I remember that one as well, yeah. And the Wild Thornberries. Fucking one I liked as well. Where Flea was the voice of like the Wild Child.
There's a Mighty Ducks animation.
Oh, have you ever seen that?
No.
That is that is the most crazy thing ever because it's nothing to do with hockey. It's nothing to do with humans. They're like ducks fighting crime in outer space. I'm not joking around. They've got like laser beams and it's like, here come the mighty ducks. It's mental.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Are we at the stage? Have we reached the conclusions?
Yes, we do have a list. So based on the top 10 cartoons from the 90s, the list provided by entertainment.ie, we have put together our own list based on the scoring that we have used for each of them. So, flying in from outer space on their beautiful bikes are our biker mice from Mars. Are in at number 10, but it was very, very close to that 10 spot because not far long after it was, of course, Johnny freaking Bravo. Less said about Johnny Bravo, the better, but he was at number 9. 8, James Bond Jr. He didn't really stand a chance, did he? You know, no matter what he chases around the world, it was never going to happen for him, really, was it? God bless us. Poor man's of the senior, I suppose. Number 7, Earthworm Jim, or whatever the fuck he is.
Soil heated crawl.
Soil heated what?
Soil heated crawl.
To soil heated crawl, Earthworm Jim, a hero for us all, or whatever.
I thought he was it's all right. Fucking here goes that fever again. In at number 6, him and the Planeteers are going to save the world from everything that is threatening it. And in at number 6, because you guys, God's sake, didn't
that's 6 spots too high, I'd say.
Oh my God. Powerpuff Girls were in at number 5 with their powder puffs putting on their makeup. God bless them. Powerpuff. Dexters Lab in at number 4. So I thought it was quite high actually, but then I was looking at the averages and I was like, oh, okay, as Dexter would in his lab, you know what I mean? Work out the averages. But yeah, number 4. In at number 3, Animaniacs. So I think a lot of the top 3 were kind of interchangeable depending on which one of us you were asking. Okay, but Animaniacs number 3, I think that's a really, really good call. Number 2. Who do you think it is?
X-Men.
It is X-Men, yes. In at number 2 is X-Men. And number 1, of course, is himself, the one and only. It's Batman at number 1. So there is our list. Are you surprised, guys? Or was it a case of it was tough because it probably wouldn't have been the 10 cartoons that we would have chosen, maybe? Or are you happy with your top 3 as worthy, I suppose, would you call them winners? Batman's, I suppose, are worthy winner. But what do you think the placements of everyone?
Seems about right.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything like too. I mean, again, Captain Planet, I'm surprised it's up that high, and I feel bad for the Powerpuff Girls that they're so low personally, but I think up high. I think there's the general consensus is those ones are pretty good.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like when you look at it, I'm going back to watch Batman, X-Men, and Animaniacs for sure. That's definitely happening. I don't care if I have to turn off fucking some award-winning, Emmy-winning fucking Netflix series just to watch Batman. I don't care. I'll watch it.
Yeah. I would totally do it for a good idea, bad idea.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely knock off whatever's on the telly. You'd be like, lads, come on, it's on.
Or just go back. Like, if you look at the list, Phil, you watched Pinky and the Brain as well, did you?
I watched the first episode, yeah.
Yeah. Would you watch that over anything else on this list?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So like Pinky and the Brain had their own spin-off, even though
it was weird though that it was the first episode was about the Titanic.
Oh yeah.
So weird.
I'll go back and watch that now too.
And you see, look, that's
and they had their own fucking special theme song as well, like
the Pinky on the Brain.
Yeah. That's a James one.
What?
That's a great theme song.
The others insane.
Who's the voice? Who's the voices?
He was brilliant.
Rob Paulson does Pinky.
Yeah.
He's also the guy who does Yakko. I'm trying to remember. Is it like Maurice LaMarche? Yeah, it is. Yeah, Maurice LaMarche, who basically was just like, let me do Orson Welles.
Yeah.
So if you ever see Orson Welles in like a lot of movies, it's like if you ever see Ed Wood, like Vincent D'Onofrio plays Orson Welles, and then it's Maurice LaMarche doing the voice of Orson Welles. Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
It's so good though, isn't it? You just like, I couldn't tell you how many times I quoted that when I was smaller. Unbelievable.
Still quote
Still quote it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If someone asks you what I'm doing today, I'll try bust that in there, right?
Do it. Just try to take over the world.
What are we doing this week? We are all going to see Iron Claw.
Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. Absolutely cannot wait. Based on Von Erich family, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, wrestling family, so wrestling royalty in a way.
Now, I know nothing about this story. I'm just really looking forward to such a happy film. I can't wait. How they rose to the top. So delighted.
Are you reviewing it on your channel? Are you doing a movie?
I'm not. So lately this month I started Movies and Milk, which is like really quick short reviews that are not just on YouTube, but they're on all of my social media, Pop Cult Pod everywhere. I'm not going to do it for Movies and Milk because I will be doing it possibly with you guys as a discussion. I will also be doing it on page 180, the Jer Leggett's podcast, which I'm going to be on once a month now, talking about a lot of movies that came out within a month. So I'll be talking about it at least once somewhere else. But yeah, I have loads of other stuff coming up.
If you want, lads, we should do it. I think we're all going to be there on Tuesday night, so there's no harm in popping on for 20 minutes or half an hour just to talk about it.
Yeah.
Not obviously not on Tuesday straight after the film, because apparently we're all going to be in tears from it. So maybe Wednesday.
Come here. Relax.
No, it has a happy ending.
It's the Von Erich family. Like, it's tragic. Like, go watch the Dark Side of the Ring documentary and prepare yourself.
You see, Michael Hayes took some serious thing to that.
Yeah.
He was after people who were trying to make dolls.
What?
Oh, of
Von Erich. Somebody was trying to make
A24. I know we're putting out a Zac Efron version of the doll or something. I think I saw during the week.
I think he's just bitter because they were never asked.
The Von Erichs weren't asked either. Like, they had the film was already in production before they realized, oh, we better let the family know we're making the movie.
There's an Eddie Guerrero one coming out. The family one.
Maybe, yeah. Nadia on the Royal Rumble, she was talking about it as well, that she may be working on a Hart family one as well.
That'd be interesting.
So it's there, lads. If you're into wrestling, like, future of wrestling is up in the air at the minute. Like, it's in a good place and a bad place, but there's a lot of stories to be told from the beginnings of wrestling right up until now. So there's going to be a lot of other movies and documentaries coming out soon.
So what are we going to be doing next month?
The Oscar season.
Well, of course it is. It's Oscar season. We have a lot of movies to watch. I know that some of us have seen some of them already, but I'm very, very excited to.
I'd be very intrigued to see what you think of Poor Things.
That's the one that I'm actually quite interested in seeing. I haven't seen it, but I've kind of seen these little snippets of it, and I'm not really sure what's going on, if I'm honest. So I am looking forward to seeing that.
I think this is going to be one of the weirdest lists we've ever done, I think.
Really? Are we all going to be down in our Dapper finery again for this, are we?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should. Oscar night, of course. You know what I mean?
We have to award somebody the Oscar for...
I still have an Oscar. Wait. A sec. Haha.
Yay!
Ready.
So we have to bring our rewards too. Yeah, amazing. Brilliant. Yeah, our next episode, we're going to be compiling our top 10 list of the Oscar nominees for Best Movie. So that's going to be good. Best film, I suppose, really. Best film, would say, as opposed to Best Movie.
It's a very strong list.
Yeah, it is. My God, it was definitely a year for 2023, wasn't it? Super, super strong list.
The only one I didn't really notice was Zone of Interest. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one either.
No.
We finished.
I'm going to watch it again. There's only one I haven't seen, but that's coming out on Friday. Is American Fiction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, we'll be having that done in February in all our finery. So we're looking forward and hope that you all tune into that as well. As you heard, Thomas lots coming up with a Pop Cult Pod and also appearing on another podcast as well monthly. So we'll make sure that everything is linked below so you can go and find him and suss him out. Phil, anything coming up in the film game?
Just editing away on things now at the moment. So
okay.
Once we get there, we're getting there. The problem is I'm having difficulty with my hard drives, so I'm really slow and behind.
Oh, okay.
4K is the killer. I'd say never film on it ever.
Oh God.
I think the film was like a terabyte of footage.
Oh wow. Okay.
And that's even before it's put in. So.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot.
Yeah,
but look, every movie Phil has these moments. So, like, don't let us stop.
It's driving me up the walls because I don't know if any of you have a Mac with the wheel that keeps spinning.
Oh God, help us! Oh, you're demented. So,
yeah, I go mad over it.
Keep at it, Phil. Those who nearly made it gave up and they didn't realize that they were just like, minutes away from really, really cracking it. So we've got
at least you're not splicing film together with fucking super.
I know the old days, yeah.
Exactly. And what have we got coming up on IWE Irish Wrestling 8?
What do we have?
We have just put up what we thought about the OTT Local Rumble. Yeah. And also, we had our predictions for the Royal Rumble. What came true? Not saying anything, but got it right. Not saying anything at all. And we've got quite a few bits coming up, haven't we?
The Irish award season, Irish Wrestling Awards is coming up. Jonathan Davenport, I mentioned the last episode, was supposed to be on with us this one. He couldn't make it because he was literally making costumes for the Royal Rumble right up until this weekend, so he never got a chance to watch anything. But he is going to be on this month, hopefully, in the next couple of days. I'm arranging something with him. We're going to watch the He-Man. He's obsessed with He-Man, so we're going to watch the Masters of the Universe on Netflix, which is out at the minute. So he's currently watching that. So once he's finished, and once I'm finished watching that, we may actually go out to the lads we spoke to last month as well from Main Event Gear, who make the gear after he designs it. One of them lads is obsessed with He-Man as well. So I've just reached out to them to see if they want to come on and do something, just a review of that those 5 episodes. So that may be out in the next couple of days. It could happen tomorrow for all we know. So I'm just waiting for them to come back to us. So other than that, we will be reviewing Iron Claw once we go see it Tuesday night. So that could come out in the next couple of days as well after we reviewed it. So stay tuned.
Fantastic. Great. So that was the end of our episode. Did you agree with our list? Were there ones that you kind of thought, what in the name of God is that in doing there? Or Liz, have you lost your mind? Captain Planet's a load of shite, or absolutely Powerpuff Girls rule? Let us know in the comments down below. Maybe there you'd like us to have a look at the cartoons from the noughties, or maybe earlier again. I can't imagine what they were like earlier. Or maybe you have suggestions for other lists that you'd like us other lists that you may like us to review or watch and compile our own lists from them. If you are not subscribed to our channel here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast or viewing material, what are you doing? Get on it. You can see how fabulous we are. So get on so you don't miss anything else. Any previous episodes or ones that are coming up. It's the Irish Wrestling 8 on all social medias. And of course, over to TikTok, where you can find the millions and millions of views. So make sure you count them up as well. As Thomas told you, he's got lots coming up as well. So go and find it. Excuse me, Tom. Sorry, my Brit went against me. So please go and find Tom on all of his socials as well at Pop Culture Pod. Phil, Deep Red Productions. We will be reviewing his movie next year for the Oscars as well. So for myself being Miss Elizabeth, we'll go Miss Elizabeth this time. Himself being Booker G. 5 times. From Tom and from Phil, have a fabulous day and we'll catch you all soon. Bye for now.
Good night, everybody.